Welcome to Sipping with Maria and Tika G. We got to pay these bills, so let go. Here's a word from our sponsors. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosted on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more.
It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free.
Whoop whoop!
Boop! Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Today. Sipping with Maria and Tika G is a podcast where we do not talk about politics, religions, or celebrities. We feel like there are enough vlogs, and other podcasts that talk about that stuff. But just because we don't talk about you don't mean we don't want you on the show. This first season, season 1, we're talking about relationships. We picked this title because it's something everyone can relate to. Now, we're not just talking about couples. We'll be talking about all types of relationships, parent-child relationships, in-law relationships, brothers and sisters relationships. The list goes on and on. Now, this particular episode is actually a business episode. A bonus episode, and we have a special guest on this episode. Tika, would you like to go ahead and introduce our guest?
Yes, our special guest for tonight is Moscow. And Moscow runs his podcast, Smoking Guns. So, Moscow, welcome, first of all. And could you please tell us about Smoking Guns, first of all, and then about your guest that you have tonight?
All right, hey, thank y'all very much. So Smoking Guns podcast where it's kind of the conversation that you'll hear, little everyday conversations you'll hear in your cigar, hookah, or vape lounges, and we bring that out to the people, man. And I've had a relationship conversation, and one of which I brought my boy Mez with me. We had a great conversation with some men about relationships, and since we're coming here, y'all want to talk about relationships, I thought it's best to bring my boy Mez. How you doing, Mez?
I'm doing well, and thank you, ladies, for having me.
Welcome to the show. Welcome.
Welcome. So, tonight, since you are our guest, what are we going to talk about tonight, gentlemen? What are we?
Well, I guess with all of the experience, in life, why don't we just talk about what brought us in life to constitute what we believe in our mind is what constitutes a real man or real woman, right? So for us, a real woman, and for y'all, even for us, a real man, right? So you have your opinions about a real woman and a real man out there in society. So what constitutes that when it comes down to relationships and how people need to build? Let's just talk about that.
You got the floor, Mr. Moscow. Let's talk about it.
Well, I'll just start off by saying a lot of times let's just view men. I'll start off with us, right? I don't want to just go straight in about women or something of that caliber. But when you're talking about men, today's society, I'm seeing a lot of men out there that's not taking care of the household of old, right? A man that's not standing tall on being a protector of their household, even if they're not making the most money, want to be a contributor. You got people that just want to mooch and leech off of women out there and not be a contributor, not be a protector, not be someone that's a stand up, stand tall man out there. And women are eating that stuff alive. That's what I'm seeing out there in society on the man's part. Is that what y'all are finding with y'all friends?
I agree with that. And I'm going to say this. How can I put this? I remember back in the day when the women used to be accused of being gold diggers. And I feel like it goes both ways. I guess, in my opinion, the men are trying to flip the script. So now they're looking for women to take care of them because they claim or feel like they have taken care of us for so long. I disagree with that because my dad took care of 6 kids, worked overnight, come home, paint, fix a car, build shit. My mom ain't have to do nothing but get up and get us off to school and she had a choice if she wanted to work or not. And when she did work, her money was her money. These men today, you're right, they're not like that. They're looking for women to take care of them. They're living off of them. Don't care if the kids get fed or anything. They're just looking for somebody that's gonna take care of them. Like, I ain't gotta go to work. Like, I have a friend, I'm not gonna say her name. She's been with this guy for 6 years, and she's taking care of this guy for 6 years. He never had a job the whole time they was in a relationship, until one day she and I had a conversation. I ain't saying I had something to do with their situation, but I'm just saying she took heed to what I said and moved out to the point where he didn't have a choice but to take care of himself. So yeah, it's a lot of men out there that's like that. Go ahead, Moscow.
Well, yeah. With that, I think the thing is that y'all women, even back in the day, right, there was power in the P, right? So y'all really control, in essence, who y'all sleep with. All right, y'all have the controlling power in that. All right, men don't have the controlling power in who we sleep with or who we lay down with and who we allow those things to happen. Y'all really run that process, right? And so, if y'all are allowing that for yourselves and accepting that, you accepted that from the beginning, right?
Not
so
necessarily, because
was he working in the beginning?
No, because a lot of men are frauds. And what I mean by that, you can show me one person. When I meet you, we go on a couple of days. Oh yeah, girl, I met this dude named my girl. He did. And then once we get deep in our relationship, okay, a year done passed by, everything's good. A year and a half done passed by, everything's good. Here comes the second year. Now you whipping my ass. So sometimes y'all can be fake and be frauds and chameleons and show us one side, and then when we get all in love and start doing A, B, C, D, then you change. So it's not that we accepted it. We accepted the person that we fell in love with. We didn't accept the person that's now whipping our ass.
I'm sorry, I gotta butt in here a little bit, because I saw things different coming up. When I was a child. I'll take my grandmother for instance, right? And my grandmother had 12 kids. She worked, she fed us, her kids and grandkids, and she still had a 9 to 5. So I think, when I heard you say that, hey, your grandfather or your father did, A, B, and C, but from my perspective, I saw that my grandmother and my mother had 4 kids. She worked a 9 to 5. She took care of the household with my stepdad, and they built, something together versus the man take care of the household. Or I think it needs to be a collaboration on both ends. That's my.
No doubt. My mom took care of the household as well. She cooked, she cleaned, she went to work as well. But my dad, being the person that he is, his thing was, you don't have to work. If you want to, you can, but you don't have to. My mom, being the independent woman that she is, and the independent woman that she raised me to be, she chose to go to work. Even though she had that choice not to, she still went to work. She still contributed to the household. My dad was just more of the provider, and he took care of his family no matter what. The point that I was making when Wascos was saying, the point I was making, my dad worked from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. My mom was to the point where she didn't have to, we're the men that were, my mom didn't have to tell my dad what she needed to be done. All she had to do was talk about it. This wall needed to be painted. She didn't have a problem with doing it herself, because my mom did the whole house, carpet the whole house herself on her hands and knees. So he was that man that all you had to do was just talk about it, and he made it happen. The brakes, something is wrong with the brakes on my car. My dad made sure that everything was good. The household was taken care of. I don't know where those men at today, because they're not here. They're not. So I don't know where they are. They
yes, Maria, my dad, was the same way, and my grandfather on both sides. So I do understand, what you're saying with that. And to you saying, the frauds and things like that, I do have a friend that I saw go through the fraud stage. I didn't know much about the man that she had chose to marry. All I knew was that he was working. They had about 2 or 3 really good cars, a nice home, and then as time went on, he said that he wanted to become a rapper. And I didn't really think anything of that because I thought he was still working. But then I didn't know on my end that he had quit his job. All the cars were repoed and they were kicked out of their home with their children and living out of a car. So she said that the picture of him was being a working man, wearing a suit every day and going to work. And it totally flip-flopped, down the line where she was like, what happened to that person? And, so I don't know if what you call it fraud, or you just say the person decided to take a beeline in life and forgot about the, what else he had going on in his life, such as marriage and the kids. I don't know, but.
Well, the thing about marriage, right? It's kind of crazy because people do evolve, right? People do evolve. Now they could devolve as well. So people change throughout, any part of relationship. I was watching that Medea thing on Netflix, and Medea said something. You got to say I do. If you're saying I do to somebody, you're really saying I do multiple times because over time that person's going to change. The hope is that they change together. So when you do have these men that change in that regard. At what point do you say, okay, I'm done with this because your man isn't taking care of the household like he, like he was supposed to do. Wasn't being that protector and all of that he's supposed to do. Because us men, let's be real, are gauged, are ranked, are categorized really by what we bring to the table, like what we do for the situation. Now, my father did as well. He made sure everything was happening. He worked hard. He worked hours away. He took 2 hours to work every day, 2 hours back home, right? He grinded to make things happen. And so with that, if he had changed up later on and said that wasn't going to be him, he's not the same man that she married. Now, if she's not okay with that, then at what point does she say, you know what, I've got to do something for me? And then I can see, okay, that happening, right? But then we talked about what Maria talked about it. If you got a man that then all of a sudden starts beating you, a lot of times you might have missed some of the signs earlier, the anger and the change. But if they start beating you in a situation, there has to be a level to how much you're going to take with anything. All right. And so we got to, men got to be held to a certain standard. The same way those men have to hold women to a certain standard, right? Everybody needs to be held to a certain standard. And if they communicate throughout, I think that's one of the main problems in relationships.
That's what I was
people
about to
don't
say.
Communicate.
They don't. And another problem that I have, Mr. Moscow, I didn't mean to cut you off, but the other problem that I have with communication, if I'm in a relationship, I'm in a relationship with you. I'm not in a relationship with your sister, your mother, your father, your cousin. I'm in a relationship with you. Come and talk to me. But I feel some type of way when you come and talk to me and we already settled the situation and then you go talk to somebody else and now they got something to say. I'm not in a relationship to them. I don't have to explain myself to them. And then you have it where you don't talk and you don't communicate and I don't know what's going on. And I have people coming up to me asking me questions and I didn't even know we had problems in our relationship. So you're right, communication, a lot of people don't know how to do that. They don't, or they feel like when they have a conversation with their significant other, it's always going to be an argument, when sometimes that's not the case. So you're right, communication.
I totally agree with you on, when you said the whole family, putting your family into your business, that is a big no-no.
Yeah, and I can't stand it.
family can destroy a relationship, you know. And by you, instead of you talking to your significant other and you going back and you telling your family of what's going on in your household, you're looking for trouble.
I don't know. I think two parts in that though. A lot of times, if you have anybody, I don't care if it's a friend, family, if you do have people that you know are going to be real with you and keep you accountable, then yes, you can communicate with them. If they're not, a lot of people, they want to look for that cheerleader, right? They feel a certain type of way, so they only going to talk to the person that's going to cheerlead them, have their back all the time, no matter if they're wrong. And you need somebody that's going to hold you accountable, that's going to be 100% real with you.
And I agree with that.
Place.
And you are absolutely right.
You're accepting of that. You got to be accepting of that.
Yep. So,
but how many of those do you have? Like, honestly, you could say you have someone in your family that will hold you accountable of what's going on in your household.
I mean, it's a lot of times you have all these people that want to cheer you on, right? Want to have your back. But if you're going to have somebody that's accountable, one, you got to be real with yourself. Whenever you get in a relationship, that it's a entanglement of sorts, right? Y'all are entangled together, and it's between the two of y'all. So when it comes down to relationships, yes, you need to have that open, honest communication early on. When you talk about stuff breaking out into argument, don't have it breaking out into argument. Have that thing, you need to talk early on, because if you keep letting this volcano erupt, I don't need you to bring up what took place 2 weeks ago, a month ago, 2 months ago. I need you to talk about it right then and there.
Say it again for the people in the back.
Maybe not when it's on fire, right? Not when it's on fire.
Right.
When the fire simmers out a little bit. Let's have a conversation about this so that we make sure that we're not causing another fire later.
Thank you.
Right? And not in argument and not doing all that stuff, but let's have a real conversation. And everybody got to be willing and ready to have that conversation.
Yes,
Say it again.
And that needs to be said early on in a relationship is the problem.
And
most people don't want to have these conversations in the beginning, and they got to be real and open with the fact that your stuff stinks as well, right? And so you got to be ready for that. And it's not always a tit for tat. When you get to a tit for tat conversation, take in what that person said. That person feels that way, right? So if they feel that way about something you did, even if you didn't have that intention, listen to what they're telling you, because maybe you conveyed your opinion, your thought process wrong, and they took and they took it the wrong way. And that's now you have to figure out, how do I need to communicate better then, so that they understand where I'm coming from, especially if you don't mean it in such a negative way. If you mean it in a negative way, then you meant it in a negative way.
I totally agree with all of that. I agree with that. If you don't tell somebody once told me it's okay to tell somebody what you want on the first date. And I thought that there was a problem with that, because when you're aggressive, a lot of men tend to stir away from that, or back, oh, you just too aggressive. It doesn't work for them. How do y'all feel about that? Are y'all okay with the woman telling you on the first date exactly what I want? Like, I want kids. I want like 2-3 kids. I want to live in a house. I want to do 1, 2, 3. Are y'all okay with that? Or do you want to wait a couple, till you get to know each other more before she starts telling you what she wants? Or I feel that if you do that, you can dead it then, or if that's what you want, or if that's not what you want at that time. Maz, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, for me, honestly, I think on the first date, if somebody telling me this is what I want, that's a turnoff to me. That is a big turnoff to me. I'd rather, go out on a few dates. I'd rather have some conversations, via phone call or face-to-face, and then get to know one another before, and then actually get into a relationship before we decide exactly this is what we want as far as kids and so forth. I mean, that's my take on that.
I mean, I do understand that. You don't want somebody coming and being like, okay, this is what I want, boo boo. Okay, I want kids. I want this ring. I understand.
I'm running.
I understand. Yes, and I can make somebody.
Yeah, I might be out the door.
That can make somebody run, but at the same time, when do you think, well, like I know you said like ease into it, go on a few dates, but when do you think, because sometimes people have been through a lot and they be like, you know what, let me just tell this person what I want up front.
Well, I think early on though, maybe you just I think early part of the relationship, early part of the dating process, the getting to know each other process, I just want to get to know who you are as a person. I got to figure out, first of all, what category I'm placing you in by who you are as a person. I mean, and men naturally want to categorize women. We do. We categorize women, whether we want to put them in a wifey bucket, a friend bucket, or a hoe bucket, right? We're going to put you in a bucket. As soon as we do it, we're going to categorize you quickly. Man, that's wifey material, right? We understand that you have the material to be wifey. Now, do you have the mindset? Do you have the emotion? Do you have the heart? I know you have all the material parts to be wifey, right? You're exactly what I want out of wifey. I want wifey to be these things. Just like a woman should know what she wants out of what her husband should look like, professionally, or at least where they're going, right? Where they're at now, where they want to go mindset-wise. And then they got to see whether all of those other blocks hit the point, whether they're emotionally ready for this, whether they're spiritually ready, whether all this other stuff, right? And that's through the getting to know each other process. After the getting to know each other process, which doesn't really have an exact timeline, but let's just say you should figure out who this person at least is moving towards within the first few months. If y'all are starting to be steady after that, continually date, continually be in places together, it's time to now narrow our conversation down to something real. Like, what are you looking for in a relationship? What are you looking for in a spouse, right? And what would bring our relationship? Because I'm in a relationship with you, or we're dating. So that means you meet all of my criteria to be my significant other. But what are you looking for in a significant other? And I'm going to let you, and can we have a real conversation about what I'm looking for in a significant other? And if we're not at those points, can we have a real conversation about, are we willing to take the steps to move in those directions for each other?
I like that. I agree with all of that.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with all of those things. And when you said you had those buckets, what are your buckets?
The whole bucket.
I don't know, man, did you have a natural bucket?
And with you all, do women usually show signs in the beginning, from your experience with both of you guys, that they belong in a whole bucket, or is that hidden sometimes and then it just comes out later? Tell us about that bucket.
Oh boy. A whole bucket. What's a whole bucket? I would say
Look, while you're thinking on that, man, let me see if I can chime in right quick, since I'm the one that brought it up, right? You said this rolling along with you, right? So whole bucket, friend bucket, wifey bucket, right? Friend bucket and wifey bucket are very similar. Tell you what, the material parts of even the whole bucket, if I meet a woman and I feel like she is not the type of woman that I want to have a full-blown relationship with. Now, she can't be a friend then, because if I want to be, at least if I want to make you a friend, I value your opinion. I value what you bring to the table. I can be around you emotionally, and I know you're not draining me, right? But if somebody that's in a whole bucket, I just want to have sex with you, right? You have all of the parts, which God gave you all the natural parts, but I like your curves. I like your features. I like something about you that I just want to have sex with you. The rest of the stuff, I don't want to spend more time with you than having sex with you. Right? I don't even want to put you there because you don't meet the criteria that I'm looking for, especially in wifey material. I might not want to put you in public with me and my friends. I don't want to show you off. I don't want to put you out as my prized possession. To be in that category. And even if you're my friend, even a friend, you still want to be able to look at, right? You still want to be able to be around. And I don't want to be around you that long. I just want to have sex with you, right? That's a whole bucket.
Gotcha.
That's how somebody gets placed in a whole bucket. And I don't know how that feels for you, man. That's what it feels to me.
I agree. A whole bucket. I'm just trying to smash. I mean, that's it. I'm trying to hit on that first date or whatever the case may be. And if you allow me, you know, me personally, if I can smash you very easy without having to talk or anything like that, I'm placing you in that whole bucket.
Oh, heck yeah. If the conversation is quick, like if I grab you up in the club and say, look, I'm trying to cut, I'm trying to do something. And you like, well, what's up then? Let's do something. You know, there's a part of like Andre 3000 said, you know, I think I like the fact that she know what she wants. But I right now said that you're so easy to do that with. I can't trust you to be in something meaningful, and not at this point in your life. And you're just automatically in the whole category. My belief system is once you get in the whole bucket, you can't jump into another bucket.
So my next question to y'all is: so you can't change a hoe into a housewife? Is that what you're saying?
I don't believe. I've put like this. I've seen it in my life. I have seen it. I think it's rare, right? It's like seeing a unicorn.
It's very rare. I'm telling you, you gotta. I don't know. It's very rare. I say. Not every million women or something. It's very rare.
I mean, but some people are physical, you know. Then after they meet you, and then they have sex on that first night, but they be like, "But I loved you," you know. they really be thinking they in love. It's not.
Look, wifey material is a total package.
You know.
Wifey material is a total package thing. A lot of men see what they aspire to be their wife, what they would love to have on their arm. Truth be told, I still believe that most places I go, there's more women than men, right? And so if a man has choices, let's be real with that. So a man has choices when they go out and look for women. So yeah, when I'm looking for a woman to be on my arm, you have to carry yourself. You have to be a certain way. So if we happen to have sex the first night, perfectly fine. But not that our conversation. There's a conversation that happened where I'm like, man, this a free hooker tonight, and you know those conversations happen quickly sometimes. I can't take you out of that category. Me personally, once you're in that category, now you could be a turn from a hoe into a housewife to somebody else, not with me.
I totally agree, and you know, like when you meet that person, you know the potentials that person have, right? You know, just by the conversation that you guys have, that you know this woman here has some potential, or this woman here, man, you know, I can't see myself with her. You know, she probably got a fat ass and look halfway decent, but you know that's about it. That's all I want. So you kind of know, and like he said, if you smash on the first night, that's okay. But you know what you're dealing with when you meet that person. You know what you got there.
So what happens if you're in a situation where it happens on the first night, and then next thing you know, y'all done been together for a couple of years? So I guess it can be an up and down thing. You have some men that if a woman sleep with them on the first night, they don't have any respect for them. And then you have some men, but I'm about to tell y'all the secret. Most of the time when y'all think y'all sleeping with us because y'all want us, that's not the case. Women know the first time we meet y'all if we're gonna sleep with y'all or not. Just so y'all know. Me personally,
you have access to that.
Right.
You own that part. You own that part.
Right.
You have all
but there's a lot of men that think that they make the decision. You really don't. It's
our
up
ego
to
is
us.
big. Our ego is absolutely big.
It's up to us.
So y'all be smash just as bad as we do, huh?
Exactly. We already know. Just like y'all plotting, we plotting too.
Yeah. So Maria G, have you had these buckets?
Yes, I have.
In your lifetime. Okay.
I have. Actually, one of my hit and run buckets, I'm with him now, let's say that. We've been together for a minute. So it can happen. It can start off a situation. I won't say he was a rebound. I'll say that I had just gotten out of a very, very bad relationship. He was there for me when I needed him. He did not take advantage of me like most men would have. We conversated, you know, before anything went further. He was, what's the word I'm looking for? He was like
with benefits.
Yeah, that's how it started off. All jokes aside, that's how it started off, friends with benefits. And the next thing I know, we was in a whole damn relationship. And double-digit years later, we're still together. So even though we had some situations in between the relationship, if you let us tell it, we ain't never break up. So it's different for everybody. So yeah, I've been in that situation. Tika putting me on the spot.
Yeah, I would just, since we were talking about buckets, just talk about buckets and things like that, and categories, because sometimes you're not mentally thinking in category style, but I do understand it. With you thinking back on past relationships thing, there was that just friend bucket. And, we all know that sometimes when the friends try to cross that line, you're like, what you doing? You just a friend, you face frowned up, just don't ruin the friendship type thing. But the friendship bucket, and just you gonna pick and choose when you with him type bucket. And yeah, so it's just, I get it.
Yep. And see, and then you have, and everybody can't handle that, that situation where my brother used to tell me, you need to have an understanding. You and that person need to understand what y'all gonna do. Are we just gonna be friends with benefits? Are we gonna do this thing and work towards something? Like, what we gonna do? So you have to have that. You have to put that out there. You have to put that out there. So, yeah.
But I will tell you that friends with benefits, right? Mm-hmm. I haven't met, too many women in my lifetime that just want to keep it in that friend zone.
I got a story to tell you, man.
Every woman, that I've tried to just be friends with, they really get emotional attached. You know what I mean? So I really haven't met a woman that just really wanted to keep it, in that friend zone.
I got a story to tell. Stay tuned.
You got a story too, right?
I got a story to tell about this friends with benefits thing. I had a friend and we were never a couple, but you would thought we was, because the way you seen him, you seen me, we hung out, ABCD, we did our thing. We were in this relationship on and off for 13 years. He was a provider. He paid my bills. He actually took care of me, brought me a few cars and all of that. But we had an understanding. And the understanding was, when we together, we together. When we're not, we're not. And like I believe Moscow was saying earlier, not everybody can handle that, because eventually somebody catch feelings. And that's what happened. We were together so much that even though I knew the rules, I knew that we had an understanding, eventually I did start catching feelings. The worst thing is when you're with somebody and you're in that friends with benefits situation on and off. And when I say on and off, when we were on, he was single. I'm sorry. Yeah, when he was on, he was single. When he was off, he was in a relationship. And then after a while, you get tired of it. So after doing this on and off for 13 years, I had to sit down and have a conversation with myself, because it does, I don't know about nobody else, but it does make you feel less of a woman. And what I mean by that is, in between this time that we're not dealing with each other, being in this quote unquote friends with benefits relationship, you are with other women, like in a relationship with them. So when you were in a relationship with them, you and I were, it was like I didn't exist. So then I started feeling some type of way. So now I'm not good enough to be the girlfriend. I'm stuck being the side chick. So being the side chick worked for some people. It doesn't for others. And it didn't work for me. But I didn't know I was the side chick, or didn't feel like the side chick until we were off. But we were off because you were in a relationship with somebody else. So
the crazy thing about friends with benefits, though, is like the friends part would have to be there, right? So if y'all are not friends when he's in a relationship with someone else, and y'all just pick up your friendship a little bit later on, then that's not truly a friend with benefits. It was, truth be told, you were in the whole bucket for him for that moment, if that's the case, right? And so, yes, for men, our ego, we like to keep, sir, we feel like we can always get back with a woman. We want to keep this woman around. We do, right? We want to keep that woman close enough by. I might hit you with a text. What's up, babe? I ain't hollered at you in a minute. That's what a lot of people say. I ain't heard from you in a minute. Or women making that text. What's up, big head? So those type of texts, right? Just automatically just something to put yourself back in that person's mindset, because you want what y'all were at least having. Now, a real friend with benefit is somebody that's truly a friend. Y'all just sleep together from time to time, and y'all may be okay with your relationships if you get in these other relationships, but that person, and when you're in those other relationships, we're just friends. When we're not in those relationships, we're holding each other down, right? Or vice versa. And so and a lot of times that's hard to handle, right? If you're in a relationship, no, you shouldn't still have that friend that you had that benefit with. Mm-hmm. But the truth be told, that person is usually always around. You're still talking on the phone with that person.
Right, of course. We still talk today. We still talk today, but I had to end the relationship. And y'all men don't like that. I guess y'all feel like y'all should be first to end something. But I ended the relationship because I wanted more, and that's how I ended up in the relationship. Yeah, right. And ended up in the relationship I am in now. Him and I still talk. We're friends. We still friends. We talk every now and then. He called me to death about his quote unquote his friendships, relationships, and stuff. But him and I we would never ever be able to go back there. Ever.
Maria, I think that's a toxic situation to me, I would say. And the reason why I'm saying it now, just to protect you there, is because y'all gonna always have those feelings for each other, no matter what. Even though you said you're not gonna take it there, or whatever the case may be, me personally, there's still something there.
He knows the buttons to push.
He knows exactly what to do to get you. And if I were you, me personally, I just think that's a toxic situation there. Because it's gonna go back there. It's gonna go back.
We are entitled to our own opinions. That's why I love my father. I can talk to him about anything. And I talk to him about the relationship. I tell my dad everything. There's nothing somebody can tell my dad about me and he'd be like, I already know. I did talk to my dad about the situation, and that's how I was able to move on, because I had to get it from a man's point of view. And he said almost the same thing that you said, Miz. So once I talked to my dad, it was much easier for me to just be like, I'm done. Let's move on.
But you did mention something, right? A man's ego a lot of times do make us believe we still could get her back. We don't want you seeing another person, even if we don't really want to be with you. All right, that's been countless number of side chicks that I done had in my life. Women I completely kept in the whole bucket. I really just didn't want her hoeing with everybody, right? I still just wanted that hope for myself,
right? Even
though I was out there with, and I had a bunch of other women in that whole bucket. I wanted all those bunch of other women to wait for my call, to be on the waiting in on my call, wait for me, because I'm gonna be there when I decide to be there. And my ego wanted that to happen, right? And then when they got into a relationship, what's up with your little boyfriend? What's up with your little friend? Blah, blah, blah. I'm up there. My ego did that.
That's exactly what happened.
And I really didn't want to be with the girl. I just wanted to still have that control over her.
Yep.
As a man.
Speaking of egos, like Maria said, is that what you guys tend to do? You know, if the woman, you know, in her case, she said, and in a lot of women's case, even in my case, you know, ending it, you being the first one to say, you know what, this is just not it, and ending it first. Does that, how does that feel to you all as far as your, you know, ego is concerned, that we as the women are saying, you know what, is not it? Or do you guys necessarily want to be the ones that say, to tell the woman it's not working out, to cut it off?
I would want to tell the woman, because if the woman tells me, you know, she's told me that before, oh, let's cut it off, but we still end up sleeping together, or we still end up, you know, having that conversation with each other, or we go out to eat and so forth. So for me, I would say I would rather have that conversation and draw that line versus the woman. And also another point I wanted to bring up is, you know, when I was listening to her story, you know, she said she was on and off for like 13 years with this friend, right? But just think about all the people you have could have had the opportunity to be with within those 13 years. You probably passed up on some good men out there because this on and off relationship that you had for the, you know, those 13 years. Or you could have possibly met somebody, you know, with good intentions and so forth, a good person, but you were still, you know.
There's a possibility that happened. That's a possibility that did happen. As women, we can be naive, we can be gullible. At that time when him and I were dealing with each other, he was giving me what I needed. To me, he was the man that I was, how can I put this, looking for? Or he was very similar to my father. Like I said, even though we didn't have a title, that's not my man, I'm not his girl, he still paid bills at my house and didn't live with me. This man have a whole house that he owns, you know? He's paying all my bills, my rent, light bill, water bill, you know, everything. And we're not in a relationship. So I guess him doing all those things blinded me to the fact that I really wanted more out of the relationship. And I'm just being honest with myself.
Well, the issue with reality is the friendship and the significant other, that husband or wifey material, those are very close, right? Your wife is supposed to be your husband. Your spouse is supposed to be your best friend, right? So that significant other is supposed to be your best friend. So they're the top of the cream of the crop when it comes down to friendship. And yes, men are highly judged by what we bring to the table, what we do for, right? So if we're paying bills, if we're taking care of this and taking care of that, we're viewed even higher, right? Y'all have placed us on an even higher pedestal when we're doing that, because, you know, men are based like that. It don't matter what we look like. I don't care. You know, men are not based by physical looks. We are based by what we bring to the table. Mm-hmm. And women really control. When you look at divorce rates or something of that nature, women are the ones who really file for divorce. Men, majority of the time, I mean, most people know one person in their life that can say that the woman asked the man to marry her. Majority of marriages start because the man asked the woman to marry him. And then from there, the woman is the one who filed for divorce, right? We're looking at about 80% of divorces filed by women. And so when it comes down to it, y'all do control the fact that we're going to end this relationship, right? We're done in this relationship. And so most men want to hold on. Our ego wants to hold on. We want to keep fighting. A real man, right? Not one of these boys, but a real man want to keep fighting for that relationship and keep fighting for that relationship. And most women would check out before the man checks out. Now, we never put you in that category. That's a different story. But we're in a relationship, whether it's sexual or whether it is emotional, and have our feelings involved. We are the ones that's still trying to fight on most of those relationships, even if we're the ones that might have messed up. And you know, when we talk about messing up, even if the woman messes up, she might have went out, cheated or whatever, the man is still there fighting a lot more to keep that relationship going.
Yeah, I can agree with you there, Moscow, because I'm a living witness of that, right? I was previously married before, and man, I wanted to keep my family. You know, I had 2 small kids. I had a wife, been married for 5-6 years, and I was fighting for my marriage, but you know, it didn't work out. She wanted to, you know, split apart. So, you know, and that's exactly what happened. So I'm a living witness of that.
My question
I was
to
in the
you,
same boat.
my question to you, Miss, is: were you fighting? The reason that she wanted divorce, did she say it was your fault, or she just felt like she was falling out of love with you? Is the reason why she didn't want to fight for the marriage?
We just, to totally be honest with you, we just totally grew apart from each other. You know, she moved from, you know, a different state here to Virginia, and you know, she really didn't like the area and always talked about, you know, wanting to go back to Atlanta or whatever, and wanted me to leave. But that, you know, I have a career here. She had a career here, but I guess just didn't like the state for some reason. And when I finally made that decision that, hey, I'm not leaving my job, things are going the right way for me, so it doesn't make sense for me to leave, right? So after we came into that agreement, you know, our marriage just fell apart, and there was a lot of just disrespect, and we just grew apart from each other. And we tried counseling, we tried everything, but it just didn't work out. So,
Man, I'm gonna tell you, I was married before as well. On my second marriage, I had a wife and my first wife, I really wanted to try to work it out because of the family as well. And the reason for the split up on that was not, we grew apart because, you know, the military kind of kept us a little bit apart. But she's the one that cheated. She's the one that went out. Even though she cheated, I wanted to try to win her affection back, you know. And then she made it appear as if, you know, I'm at fault so much. You know, her cheating was almost like, she was such a hypocrite to her cheating that she almost didn't see the fact that she cheated. She saw that basically I needed to work harder in order to keep her, and then really negated even all the work that whatever work I put in. Like, she completely overlooked the work that I put in. And if you look at things through negative lenses, you'll always see negativity, right? And so I was in that same boat. I tried my hardest to work on the relationship, even though I knew that she didn't really want to work on the relationship. But I tried to fight hard. I was going to suffer through it just to have my family, because I felt like that's what a man is supposed to do. Even though I know that she was unfaithful, I was hoping that maybe she'd be faithful, maybe she'd respect me, maybe she'd do this. You know, and that was where I was at in those situations.
Well, Moscow, do you think that she used you being in the military as an excuse on why she stepped out in the marriage?
So we both was in the military. She was trying to be in denial for her part of stepping out. I mean, I saw emails between her and a guy that I knew, right, which was the part that hurt. Normally, the guy, I'm not blaming the guy for being a guy, but I knew the guy, right? And we fought people together. And then when y'all are in Bosnia together on deployment, you're sending messages like, hey, how about you tell your roommates to leave so we can have the place to ourselves and all this other stuff, right? He's sending messages to my wife, right? And that's what was going on there. And then she tried to still deny that relationship and only bring up the fact of her ex-man. She wanted closure as why she had sex with him. But closure can start with your legs, right? You know, but she decided to have sex with her ex-man, who she hadn't seen technically in years, but wanted that closure because while I was in Korea, she was back in the States, and him and her was in the same area around the same time, decided to get together. And so that's the part that she brought forward to me, and I'm sitting up there trying my best to work out the relationship. It just wasn't on both ends.
Well, how long are you guys willing to be in the struggle? You know, and I know people be like, oh, you know, you should struggle through relationships. That's how you guys can grow and learn from things. And I understand that regarding certain things, but how long are you willing to wait around and say, you know what, this might not be it?
Well, in my
trying
mature
all kind of
mind,
different things, and this is just not what was needed for me at this particular point in time.
well, when I was younger, right, I just thought that it wasn't all about pure communication, right? I had to come to that point later in my maturity. But when I was younger, I just wanted to, hopefully we can forget about it, right? And just move on and just accept all the stuff. And I could never forget about what she did, but I really wanted to keep the home together. And maybe we'll find a way to get back to what we were, right? Before all of this. And so at least allow that thing was going to be, it'll be in the back of my mind, but not to be so much in the forefront. So the fight is going to be constant almost, but I think that now I know that it evolves around, pure communication, right? It has to be a communication and it has to be some type of realization that, yes, I messed up and I want to now change that mess up. I want to do something different. I want to be a little better. And how can I be a better spouse for you? I didn't think that, both parties have to do that. If both parties don't do that, it will not happen, right? If you can have one person trying to make changes, trying to be better, trying to be what you didn't have, or trying to be an example of what you didn't see. Maybe I wasn't as I didn't show it as much as I should have shown it, or I didn't allow it to believe so much in your heart that you could say no to this other person. And so maybe I need to make some changes in me, but I need you to tell me what that is. And I need you to be real about the mistakes that you made and be willing to make changes as well. And I think it's changes that have to happen on both parts, not just one person, on both parts.
Nez, the same question. In your situation, I know you said it has something to do with moving. Do you think it was more than that?
Yes, it was more. I didn't really go into detail, but yes, there was more. There was a little infidelity as well. Like Moscow was saying, he saw emails. I saw a few text messaging here and there. And it was with our, we had my stepdaughter play AAU basketball, right? So it was the basketball coach, the guy that, I didn't know him, but still, he was the coach for our daughter. So, I saw some text messaging, when she was at work or whatever. I saw them texting each other. And it also got to a point to where it was just really disrespectful. Like, it got to a point to where she started trying to belittle me. And all I was trying to do was be that man for the household. And I wanted my family, I got 2 beautiful kids. But once it got very disrespectful and real toxic to a point to where you're talking to me in a kind of way in front of the kids and you're cursing, and there was an outrage here almost every day. So I had to walk away. I was the person who actually filed for divorce. She talked about it, she wanted it, but I went ahead and I made that move, to protect myself and my kids. So
I understand. I'm sorry that both of you all had to experience that. I am one of those people, I've never been married, but I don't believe in divorce, and I strongly believe until death do us part. I do. So the only way you're going to leave me is in a coffin. Unless it's a situation that is just to the extreme that a dog shouldn't have to deal with it. But other than that's one of the reasons why I'm not married now and I don't want to get married, because people don't marry for love anymore. They marry for benefit. If I marry this person, he at E6, he at E6, girl, he work here, he work there, he work at the shipyard. It's a benefit there. There's no, I don't love this man, but I can grow to love him. That's some bullshit. So.
But Maria, I think beginning phases of a lot of stuff nowadays, looking at that, and even with people, there has to be a benefit of essence in a relationship, right? So you have to see what benefits you, whether a man wants a woman that's cooking on a regular basis, giving them sex on a regular basis, that she makes sure she dresses and carries herself a certain way, cleaning the house, right? That man expects certain benefits in that relationship. And if a woman has an expectation that, hey, he has this type of at least a professional job, least that he can
I'm not talking about that type of benefit. I'm talking about the type of benefit that only benefits one person. It's on one side. Oh, I'm only dating him because of the amount of money he make. I don't give a damn about him. He can do A, B, C, D. I'm only with him because what he can do for me, not because I love him, not because I care for him. Not that type of benefit. I'm talking about.
But I think the benefit is a start, though. I think the benefit is an absolute start.
I'm talking about the negative side of the benefit, not the positive side. Or like you said, she dresses nice. This is who I want beside me. A woman, she gets up, she puts herself together. Whether she wears makeup or not, every time she walks out this house, I'm proud to say, yeah, that's my woman. Not that type of benefit. The benefit of, I ain't got shit and you got more than I have, and you don't have a problem with taking care of me and I don't do nothing. That type of the negative part of it.
But once again, I don't know if that's negative, because the benefit wise, like I said, for a benefit for a woman is a man that's taking care of house, a man that's bringing something to the table, a man that's protector, right? That's a benefit for a woman, right? A man's benefit is is mostly physical, right? Mostly physical, right? It's not about whether she's bringing a certain income to the table. For a lot of men, is if she looks good on my arm when we walk into places. And men are highly physical when it comes down to that. Women are highly on the part where, what does that man bring to the table? And so those are benefits. It's just that, can you deal with the other pieces? And it's a scale, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's perfect, right? So you're looking at a balance there, or a scale. Mm-hmm. Can I do the goods outweigh the bads? And am I okay with the bads enough? Or at least if that person is willing to move forward through the bad, maybe we can get to where we want to go. And it has to have a conversation about where we're going,
right,
and the direction we're traveling in.
Right. When that, then the benefits both of you. It just doesn't benefit. It's just not one-sided. Is the point.
Yeah, but you can only care about you. You need to only care about your benefit. What benefits you? Now, yes, you could try to, what the goal ultimately is, hoping that what you bring to the table benefits him, and he wouldn't be with you if it didn't. Really, but you really got to think about what benefits you. The problem is, a lot of times people don't want to care about what benefits them, and they give all of this energy to what benefits somebody else. You should absolutely care about what benefits you. You got to get something out of there. There's a level of selfishness that need to happen. You got to talk about who's going to benefit you emotionally, financially, whatever, right? And that you need to be selfish a touch, right? Sometimes, but there's a part that also you need to bring something. You need to say, okay, how can I be unselfish for this person?
Exactly my point. That's what I'm trying to say. Exactly my point. How can it right? How can it work for me? And you're absolutely right. I agree with you 100%.
Hey, so let me ask, can I put you ladies on the spot real quick? How much does a man have to make in order for you to take it to the next level with that guy?
You talking about make at his job?
At his profession, yes.
His profession.
How much does he have to bring to the table in order for you guys to give him a chance?
I guess to be honest, I would prefer that he makes more than me.
I agree.
And I guess I just that's how I grew up. That's what I've seen. I noticed that with me, I'm not in those relationships that I was making more, or I suspected that I was making more, because didn't get that serious, but I suspected I was making more than the other person. It just it fizzled out, and and that's something that I do talk about is in the beginning is finances. Like what is your finances looking like, and I'm just saying that because that's just how I grew up. And even with my dad, my dad just, I think he drilled that into me, and still to this day he talks to my cousins and things that are single and things like that, and says, the man, make sure whoever that fool you dealing with, he making more than that's my dad talk, making more than but that's, it's just what I know. So I don't, like I don't think I don't think of it as like a negative. I'm after the person's money. It's just that's what was put into my mind from a young age. It's just
well, Tika, I would say this then, and I've advised, I've had some female friends I advise about men they need to look for, and I think that in certain age groups is different, right? So when you're young, in your 20s, teens coming out of high school in the 20s, the potential of that man is an important part, right? That man ain't making no money in college, right? You're not making no money in college, but the potential, like, are you starting to work for that? If they're not going to college, are you looking to get a trade? Are you looking to do something with your life, right? Where are you trying to go needs to happen in the 20s. Once you start hitting 30s, it's like, okay, are you moving in that direction? By the time a man hits their 40s or a woman, or even a woman hits their 40s, you need to be looking for men that's already moving there, right? That man in their 40s should already be established enough in their work life, in their professional life, that they are bringing something to the table and continuously growing, right? You got to be continuously growing, but you got to have that conversation about that continuous growth. And if that man in their 30s and 40s is not trying to grow, is just trying to skate around in life and just trying to do whatever, if that doesn't work for you, even if he's making a little bit more than you, you don't see the potential that he's going to make even more later, right? And so you have to have somebody that you see the potential that they're steady growing, potential in the 20s, steady growth in their 30s, and then at a good level, and that growth is just compounding starting 40s and 50s. Once you get past that point, man, that was like, okay, you should be very established by the time a man turns 50. All right. And so
now my thing is, now what happens because I have actually met the opposite. I have met men that's in their 40s, 50s, and they ain't got nothing. And I have met men younger than them that has everything. And then you sitting there weighing like Tika said, that's how she was raised. She was raised that the man should ABCD, What do you do when it's opposite? Because when I was younger, I will admit, we wanted the sugar daddies. He had to be 10 years older than us. But then as I got older, I didn't want them. I wasn't into them anymore because I was starting to notice that what people were saying about the older and the younger men wasn't necessarily true, because you have men that in their 30s, 40s that's more mature than these men that's in their 40s and 50s. So I guess it can go both ways, Tika. What you think?
I believe that, excuse me, my phone was acting up, but yeah, I believe that it could go both ways, but I've seen that too, where I don't know, Maria, things are today in time are just so different with people, and I have no clue what has happened or what's going on, but there's been a shift, okay?
Right.
And I don't see a lot of go hard anymore from men. I've seen men that are still walking around sucking their thumb and they 45. Okay.
Right.
And so, yeah, so it's, but that does not mean, of course, that a woman is going to, take care of you just because you're 45 and sucking your thumb, But I honestly believe that a shift has happened, and what women may be looking for now is just at this point in time not always there like it was, because a shift has happened, and for the women out there that are listening that are younger, they may not know. They might not know anything about the ship. They're just kind of going along like, what? Yeah, girl, it's
right.
Cool. I'm taking care of you, but with us, we're like, what? What's going on? So
exactly.
I think that a lot has happened in the past past, several years. So, and I don't necessarily know what happened. And as far as, being out there going hard, making money, things like that, that's the things that I did see my grandfathers doing and my dad still doing.
Well, Tika, I want to touch on that. Give me 1 second to get my thoughts together, because I do want to touch on that. You said something that was very important, and that's going to take longer than 6 minutes to express. So give me one second, please.
What I thought.
So, Tika, back to what you were saying. Can you go ahead and finish that conversation? You in Moscow?
Yes, I was just saying, a major shift has happened, and I don't quite know when, but I know, I of course have noticed it, and men are, do not have that go hard in them anymore. And of course I can only know from what I've seen and things like that, as far as growing up, because how you grow up does impact you and what you see. So I saw the men going hard, and the men in my life, whether they were my dad, my grandfathers, uncles, and they were going hard. My grandfather had ALS, which is also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, and he was making his own personal belt straps for his legs to help him to walk, pulling them with his hands to help him to walk and get up and still go to work. I mean, before he just could not walk any longer. So things like that, not curled up in the bed and, saying, I can't do this, I can't do that. And it was just that mentality. There's been a shift. The people want the easy way, and if I want to just to go ahead and make $1, and then I start pouting when the dollar doesn't come in that second or in that one day.
Right.
But it does come with hustling.
Right.
You gotta get that hustling.
Well, I am gonna have to be on the men's side on this part. A lot of women, we say what we want. We want this, we want that, we want a good man, we want him to do A, B, C, D. And then a lot of women, when they get this man that they ask for, they don't know how to appreciate him. And then when he starts swaying off, and then you start putting the blame on the man for the reason why he's acting the way he is. In actuality, I'm a firm believer. The way I met you is the way that the relationship is going to continue. And what I mean by it, if you met me and I'm cooking for you, cleaning for you, I'm keeping myself up, I am going to continue to do that. But a lot of women, once they get the man, they feel like, I can just let myself go because I already got him now. And that's not the case. And that's not fair to the men, because secretly, women, we do judge when men change. We may not do it to their face. Oh, this motherfucker, he ain't paying no bill, he ain't doing what he's supposed to do. That's not fair. Because when that struggle comes, you're supposed to work together. Not just be around when things are going great. When things start turning left, that's when you need to have a conversation and find, okay, what we need to do to rebuild this. So on the men's side, I'm on their side when it comes to women are flip and flake in a minute when stuff ain't going the way that they feel like it should go, even though they're not doing their part. If a man is going to work 12 hours a day, why do he have to go to work 12 hours a day, come home, cook and clean when you ain't doing nothing? I don't think that's fair.
I guess what constitutes a struggle. So you're talking about both of the people willing to struggle together, not just that one person taking care of everything. Because I think that could go both ways. Because like I said, a shift has happened, and I see the woman working the 12 hours and the man walking around talking about, dang, I wish that I could be doing this with my life, and then they still just wandering around, in their mind what they're supposed to be doing and not doing anything in the meantime. So it's kind of like, how long, once again, that question is, how long are you willing to ride
Right,
with that.
right.
Are
Ride
you
with
gonna
them.
be there 5 or 10 years and be like, dang, this dude still walking
Right.
around talking about he wishing he would have.
Well,
Right.
well,
But
I would tell y'all, man. I would tell y'all that to ride with somebody, y'all got to be driving, right? So if that man ain't driving somewhere, y'all ain't riding nowhere, right? He got to be driving somewhere. Here's some of the shift, right? And I'm just going, we got to look at a family dynamic, right? So family dynamic, we talk about our grandparents, our parents, right? There has been a shift. We're talking about a society where 80% of people were married and families was working together, was building this family dynamic together. We're talking about back, even up until the 80s, right? We're talking about those. We had a lot of households that were that way. The times have shifted. So you have now a lot more. Mez talked about earlier about his the women in his family taking care of everything and doing it without a man. There's a lot of households that no men are in the households no more. And they create one about women that there's an independency that you don't need a man. All right, so that man doesn't feel valued when you do have a man that wants to be valued. But then you also create a system where these men don't have, these boys are growing up to be men and never had a man in their life to show them the way. And so if they never had a man in their life to show them a way, how are they going to know? Men were in their life back in the day. Men were there. They had examples of that manhood. You talk about your grandfather and he showed his kids, and then you talk about your uncles, right? But then eventually we're getting into a time frame, a shift where there's not a lot of men in the household. There's a lot of single mothers that are out here doing their thing, and they don't have that male structure or any type of family structure where the man is head of a household to be an example of, to show some of these men.
I can agree with that.
I can agree as well. And I want to put this in perspective here as well, right? So I know earlier you mentioned that you would love for your man to make more than you, right? In order for, to take it to that next level or to actually be with them. But think about some of these guys, right, that go to college, right, get an education, and just say, for instance, they graduated with a math degree or English degree, and now they're teachers, and they have a career. They're making money. They're trying to pay bills wherever they could pay, and because teachers don't make a whole lot, right? So I guess my question to the ladies right now is, you can't see yourself with that man that has a career, that has a job, went to school, has an education. You can't see yourself being with that guy because he doesn't make more money than you.
That's this is Maria. I'm in that situation. I make more money than my guy. That doesn't make or break our relationship, because at the end of the day, it's more than material. It's more than the physical. This is the first time I ever been in love. This is the only man I have ever been in love with. So do I have a problem with it? Sometimes I do. Sometimes I feel like I'm pulling all the weight because I make the most money. I feel like I'm putting out the most. But then I have to look at it on his end, because it wasn't always like this. It was a time that I didn't have to work at all. You understand what I'm saying? So he was paying all the bills and doing everything. And then the tables shifted where we had to switch places. Not because he don't want to work, it's because he has a medical condition that prevents him from working. So that can go both ways. So yes, at first he was the breadwinner and I was not, but because it has shifted, now I am the breadwinner. So do I love him? Of course. Am I still in love with him? Yes, I am. Does sometimes it bothers me with the situation with the income? Of course. But I'm human, he's human, we're adults, and we talk about it, and we try to make other ways to make it work for both of us. So it can go both ways, Miss.
And I think also when you look at the financial structure of things, right? You got women they graduate college at a higher rate, right? You look at some of these colleges around here. I worked on Hampton University. They had way more female dorms than male dorms, almost double the amount of female dorms to male dorms, because women are graduating at a higher rate than men. And so, so you look at men that even if they're graduating or if they get a professional job, a lot of times they may only be making that median income. The median income in this country is about $40,000 a year. And so if that person has got to the cap, then most of these teachers are really at the cap of their pay. They're not going to get maybe little raises here and there, but they're not getting any more. And they've got good jobs and good positions. But with that, they're capped on their income. They can be good men, but they're capped on their income.
Right.
And women sometimes can find a way to make more money, especially we get into a society that wants to pay women equal wages and sometimes give them better opportunities than they've had before. Some of those women with those degrees are going to find management positions, higher positions, because these jobs have to show that. They have to show that they've given women that chance to be in those positions. They're going to get executive positions where they may have a man who's just a teacher, who's just a construction worker, who's just and he works hard, he just can't do more.
Right. And people have to understand, just because your salary is $40,000, you're not bringing $40,000 home a year. You have to think about the tax.
You bring about 30.
Right, 25 to 30,000. So you have to, when you say I make this amount of money a year, you really don't. Like, perfect example, me and someone got into an argument a couple of years ago. It's her wife, and 1, 2, 3 kids, so that's 5 people. And she made the comment to her wife that, if you get this job at such and such, making $100,000 a year, I'm quitting my job. And I'm like, $100,000 is not a lot of money. It's not. And she said, what you mean? I said, why would you stop working because your wife is going to be making 6 figures? You have to think about it. It's 5 of y'all in a household. You have a mortgage. At the end of the day, she's not bringing home $100,000. So we had gotten an argument about that. Well, I'm going to quit it doesn't make any sense to me. It's 5 of y'all in the household. She's making 6 figures, you making 5. Why don't y'all just put y'all income together instead of you quitting your job?
Right, and developing a savings, developing most people don't have a retirement plan like at your jobs, right? Most jobs nowadays, you have to pay into your own retirement plan, whether you're doing a 401k at the job, which they may match, or you have to do your own IRAs, right? So you have to have this extra money coming in where you do have a savings account and that you can save money, because retirement is going to happen, right? There's going to be a time period. You mentioned about a man being disabled, but there's going to be a time period you may not be able to work. And so while you have the opportunity to work and to earn income, because you don't know what the future brings, you should absolutely be putting that money aside, saving that money during that time period, and making a way to have something for later. In the event stuff happens, right? In the event your job decides they want to, somebody wants to lose their job, that's 6-figure income, that business could leave, right? We talked about the shipyard earlier. That's a big industry here. But when they moved over from Northrop Grumman to Huntington Ingalls here in this area, some people didn't move with them, right? Some people might not have got the job because Huntington Ingalls, who's doing this contract with the Navy, may turn around and say, I'm doing this contract at the shipyard. We want to bring in this much money. We underbid Northrop Grumman. And so we're going to have to cut some people so that we can make income. Now, not that the people can make income, that the business makes income. And so that got to be, that's a real part with that.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree with the woman who gets hers as well. I know some men just they might say, you don't have to work, or I don't want you to work, whatever the reason is. But I do believe in a woman still going out getting hers.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Because like you said, you never know what could happen. You never know what the situation is in. Have something behind. You don't want years and years and years to pass, and you
Right.
have not done anything. I don't care if you're starting your own business.
Who you telling? Trust me, mama ain't raised no food. And like I tell women, like I be watching these movies and I be sitting there watching. I'm like, your husband is a millionaire and all you do is shop. Take that money, that allowance he's giving you, and invest in yourself, because you done signed a prenup. So you're gonna leave what you came with, which was nothing.
Yes.
So if he's giving you a $5,000 a week allowance, flip that shit. Invest in yourself, because you have given this man total control. But if he's giving you $20,000 a month, why when he leaves you broke? I would never understand that.
I mean, well, with that, right? Just because people making more money, so somebody does get a 6-figure income. Yes, before we both making 50,000, all of a sudden one making 6 figures, we're still at the same place. And if we do take that, if we don't have a good financial education about what to do with this extra money, most people change their lifestyle with the money that they make.
Yep.
And so therefore they're not saving any more money because they got a raise on the job or because they did something more. They feel like, especially in the Black community, that we have to spend it on, okay, now I should buy Louis Vuitton.
I'm glad you said it.
Now I should do this. Now I should do that.
Yeah.
The reality is you need to start growing and building something together. You need to learn more. And it's about consistent growth, right? So you need to learn about your finances, learn how to put money to the side, learn how to save and develop, learn how to invest, learn those different things. Because when you turn around and look, that money might not be there later, and you want to, and especially if you get old, you're going to get older. That's one thing in life that's going to happen. You're going to get older. You're never as young as you are today, and so if you get older, you're going to get sicker. You're going to get you're going to get more susceptible to injury. You're not going to be able to work at the level that you were working before, and so and even if you're getting older, you're not going to be where the technology is running. Nowadays, they're going to be somebody younger. Even if you've been working in a job for 30 years, there's going to be somebody younger that's going to be more technologically sound, and that company want to move that way, and they're going to boot you out because at this point in time, they need that younger person to move in the direction that they want to move.
And exactly. And then my problem that I have with a lot of us in our community, that we feel like we get comfortable. Oh, I'm comfortable right here. No, it's time to move on up. I know somebody who's been working at the same job for double-digit years, and I make more money than them sitting at home. And I'm like, if you're comfortable, that's on you, but don't call me asking me for help when you have the potential to move forward, to do better than what you're doing. So all of that you said, Moscow, is head on. It's 100%. So you're absolutely right.
I mean, I was doing finances for a long time. I still have licenses and doing investments and stuff of that nature. And one thing that I've noticed sitting down with families is that if people are making this, whatever money they're making, they just don't know what to do with that money, and they're doing the wrong things with it. And a lot of times, just sitting back, figuring out where your bank account is going, realizing that you are spending in places that you don't need to spend. And it has to take a real honest approach and communication about where the money is going, what money is coming in, what money is going out, and how can we adjust fire in order to accomplish our goals, right? How, what goals we want to set. And most people have not set any real financial goals. They have financial dreams. I want a house, I want this, and don't realize that your credit score, which is an I love debt score, because you got to have debt in order to get credit. But you don't understand how those work and how those work in your favor. But you have to start communicating. If you don't have the answers for that through your communication, you need to sit with somebody that has an answer and be able to point you in the right direction and allow that person, if you open your finances up, be like, I don't know what to do with this. Can you help me figure out what to do with this? And then listen to the expert.
Dig it. Definitely dig it. Tika and Mez, y'all mighty quiet. How y'all feel about what Moscow said?
Hey, I'm all with it. But I guess for me, what do you women want to see happen? Because you talked about a shift, right, of the men not being men anymore. But what do y'all want to see us do more? What do y'all want men to, besides making money, right? What else do you guys want want more men to do with themselves? Because, I know we talked about, real men, real women, and so forth. Then we went to kind of, the financial situation. But as for men, what do you want to see more? What do y'all want to see us do more? Just overall.
Man, just, how can I put this? Man up. Not like you said, not necessarily financial part. Like, I've learned that men have a problem with expressing themselves, because a lot of men feel like if they express themselves, if they're showing a sign of weakness. I want men to be more open with their feelings. Tell me how you feel. It's okay to cry. I'm not going to judge you because you're crying. It's okay to cry. I just want you to be more open with your feelings and tell me what you want. Talk to me. Don't talk at me. Talk to me. Be more open. I believe my thing is more as a feeling, because men don't show their feelings as much as women do. It's like a puzzle. We got to figure shit out, versus, what we feel as a woman, versus a man. Y'all want to ball all that mess up and keep it in, and then then when we do something, you take the anger out on us. And at the end of the day, you're not even mad at us. You're mad at something else that we ain't got nothing to do with. So I just want men to put their feelings out there more, to open up more,
Wow. Maria, the crazy part about that is that men feel the same way about women. Majority of men I talk to, they feel like the woman bottles up a lot of their emotions and then bring it all out like erupted volcano. And women are more emotional. But the thing about most men, especially real men, most men out there are logical, right? We think in the areas of logic. We think, we think very logical about stuff, not emotional. And so it's difficult to tap into those emotions when the real man want to figure out the solution, right? I don't have time to dig into the emotions. I need to figure out the solution. I need to move forward. I don't have time to be emotional about some of these things. I got to figure the next piece out, right? And so, yes, I got to figure out how to fix the car. I got to figure out how to plunge this toilet. I got to figure out how to make this extra, some extra money. I got to figure out whether I get overtime on the job. I got to figure out all these different things. A real man wants to figure all those out because we want to protect, we want to provide. All right, so we want to protect and provide. We want to figure those things out in order to get to where we want to go. Now, the emotional part of it, we kind of put our emotions on the back burner. So when they do come out, and those men that bring those out, it's because we put it in the back burner for so long that it can erupt. Right. So the thing about finding the good balance to that is figuring all those out while when you're going through those emotions, just being honest about who you are, which is difficult for a lot of men. We want to just find the solution or be an answer, and not add on to the problem.
Yeah, and I agree with you, man.
I guess when I talk to most women, and then when I think about things, women always bring up the word action. I want to see more action and less talk.
That would be me.
And more action, less talk. You're talking, but where's your action behind it? How come I haven't seen you make this move? How come I haven't seen you do this, that, and the other? And I'm finding that word is used a lot, and that the word action is used a lot nowadays. So, and I don't, like I said, don't know what happened there, where the action went, but yeah, the action needs to come back. And a lot of women are all for it, if you have a dream, a goal that you're trying to do, because a lot of women have dreams and goals too, and we want to be supported. Mm-hmm. But, it's just, we want to be able to see you put some oomph on it.
Yeah, put a little stank on it,
And I will say, as I've grown up, man, and become more mature as a man, I've finally, come to that realization where I can't do it alone. You know, like she was talking about, we hold stuff in a lot. That was me. And I've finally figured out that I need to go to my woman, because my woman has some of the best ideas ever of how to figure this out. You know, I know sometimes as men, we want to be tough, right? We want to try to figure it out on our own, but in most cases, we can't. We have to go to our women. So
That's
Well, I'm a little bit different, right? I'm a little bit different.
here you go.
It's not really to me. I don't think I'm really not as egotistical as some, but I do believe that the way that I am, you know, in processing information and putting stuff out there. Yes, if I feel a certain way and I feel like through that process that she can provide that value to this information, and we're going to discuss some stuff, but if I don't feel like she can provide that information, then I have to find somebody that can, right? And so part of the ego problem is that we don't want to lean on someone else. And if that is your significant other, if your significant other is that someone else that you need to lean on because that person has, you know, the answers and you don't have them, you need to do that. You need to just put your ego to the side. But if that person is not that person, put your ego to the side for whoever that person is and figure that out. Like I said, I've sat with people who egos is on the table. Oh, well, I'll figure out how to get to this. It's like people going to the gym. Well, I go to the gym after I lose weight. That's not how any of this works, right? And so I'll save money. I'll invest money as soon as I start saving. Well, you didn't know how to get. You got into this hole. You don't always know how to get out of that hole. You need to listen to the steps to get out of this hole. But once I save more money, then I'll start investing. I'm telling you how to save money. I'm gonna do it my way. And so people do need to leave their egos at the table and get with somebody that knows more, that knows a little bit better, that has some of the educational experience to help you move into that next phase that you should want to move into. But before a lot of people, they just, I'll figure it out myself. So the male ego can be something else, or just the ego, people's ego period can be something else when it comes down to that.
You're right. And again, it all goes back to what we first started talking about, right? Finding that wifey material, right? Somebody you know who you can count on, lean on, and talk to when you're in that time of need. You know what I mean? So I just finally realized, man, that me trying to figure it out all on my own doesn't work for me. So
but that also requires, though, that we talk about wife because we're men, right? But that husbandly material, you have to know what constitutes that in order, and say, okay, people have to hit these blocks, all right? They have to hit these prerequisites in order for me to deal with them like that. Because if you're looking for a husband, find somebody with that husbandly material that you have established as what you want for a husband. Whether that's something emotional, whether that's something, they need to have at least the prerequisites, at least the baseline part of that, and be willing to move in the direction that that you want that person to go. And that's got to be that same person that's looking for you having that same wifey material, the baseline, the prerequisites, and that you're willing to compound upon that and add on to that to build up to what they see as a complete wife, or what that person sees as a complete husband. There has to be a baseline, yes. You have that base, you have that prerequisite, but you need to start adding on to that. All right, you need to start developing on to the next phases of that. And there has to be I'll go back to conversation, but there has to be a real, open, honest conversation about that. And most people just don't want to have that conversation. They just want to hope it happens.
Right. Without talking. And like we said before, Moscow said before, and we have talked about it several times on the show, without communications, you ain't got nothing. I don't care if you in a relationship with somebody or not. You talking to your boss, you talking to a friend. You have to communicate, because if you don't tell me what's going on, I ain't gonna know what's going on, and you can't fault me for not knowing. So at the end of the day, it still ends up to being communication.
And if you're by yourself and you're waiting to find that significant other, you have to start talking to somebody for real about what you are, and then how to progress forward. Like what are what am I and what do I need to add to the, to my pot in order to make this a stew,
Right. That's exactly.
Okay, make it a stew. Okay. Yeah, but
I want to thank Moscow G and Ness with Smoking Guns for coming on the show. I really enjoyed the conversation, fellas. This is the longest podcast that we had, so I know
this will be an excellent bonus.
Yeah, so the listeners would definitely enjoy this conversation. Yeah, loving it. Tika, is there anything you want to say? I see that you sold out, girl, on your stuff, on your little lip gloss and your shades. Congratulations.
Yes. As you guys know, Tika loves fashion. You guys can follow me on Instagram or Facebook, Tika Loves Fashion, and my link is in the bio. Follow me. So I do sell different types of beauty products. So go up there, take a look, make your purchase, and I will ship out the same day. But I just, I do appreciate the people that have been buying so far. And like Maria said, a lot of my lip glosses, especially the nude type of lip glosses, the browns, the pinks, the mauves, have been selling out. So I do appreciate everyone for that. And just continue to rock with us. And the season 2 is approaching faster than you guys think.
Yes.
We love you guys.
Yes. Thank you, Amazon, for making us your feature on the podcast. Thank you. This has been another episode of Sipping with Maria and Tika G, where we do not talk about politics, religion, or celebrities. We feel like there's enough blogs, and other podcasts that talk about that stuff. Please stay tuned with us every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. March 10th is the last episode for season 1. Then we'll be back on March 31st for season 2. So stay tuned. Again, thank you for listening to Sipping with Maria and Tika G. See y'all every Thursday at 8 p.m. Standard Time. Thank you.